Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is our recap for the Gauntlet 2, episodes 12 and 13. My name's Zach. I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, hey, hey.
My best friend, Jake.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good. Actually, this is, as of yesterday, this is the first full day that I haven't had to take any sort of cough medicine.
We don't care.
From the flu.
Give it up.
We don't care. I'm not clapping for you.
The flu. It's 2 solid weeks. Like, I was mostly feeling better, but that cough didn't go away for 2 weeks.
I'm going to tell you where Hannah's disdain is stemming from right now. I'm talking to the listener.
Mm-hmm.
You do this. We go through our routine. You ask us to make sure phones are on silent.
Yeah.
The whole routine. And then you'll ask us if we're ready.
Yeah.
You asked me if I was ready. I said yes.
Why does that, like, the group,
Right.
the room?
But then, Hannah said no. And you said, I don't care.
Well, no. That's painting it in a different light. First of all, she said no, and then like smirked, like no,
Which is true. And
then I was like, and then I asked again, and she's like, no, I'm not ready. But she was. She's just sitting
No,
there.
I said no, I'm not ready. I may have looked ready, but maybe I wasn't mentally ready.
Well, that's
and
always the case.
I'm leaving the room.
Well, just one of the many reasons why I enjoy being in the same room with you guys.
Okay.
I thought you were going to add to
I
that.
love y'all's
And then you
dynamic.
didn't.
It's
Yeah, I thought you had more to that.
if nobody's told y'all, it's special. I'm grateful.
Okay.
And the people that listen to this are grateful.
I mean,
Are they thankful, grateful, blessed?
I would like to think.
Is that a saying?
That's the next live, laugh, love.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, no, it's a thing.
I did see on Reddit and Airbnb that I'm pretty sure someone decorated like trolling, which I actually thought was really funny because everywhere that they could, they had decor that said live, laugh, love or love, laugh, live or whatever. And it was like the curtains and the salt and pepper shakers. And if it wasn't someone trolling, then good God, that person needs help. But
was it like a TikTok video?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. I love that video.
The amount of that throughout the house, I was like, if I had an Airbnb, I would maybe want to do something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, I would just. The last point I was going to make was that simply our dynamic, I choose to believe, plays a role in getting some people through their day-to-day routine, right? Like
through the loss of a job,
the fire and the flames,
the death of a parent,
the death of a pet.
Yeah, that happened.
The death of a pet.
Did I say that? Petch?
Yep.
Okay.
You did.
That happened.
But you get it.
I mean, I've never had a pet.
Well, anyway, I would just like to think we play a role in uplifting the nature of America.
Just America, though. If you're listening anywhere else, you're in trouble.
But what if we don't? What if nobody listens to this?
We have downloads in like 120 something countries, which is crazy.
But a download is not a listen. What if nobody listens to this? What if nobody cares?
It's being listened to and it's being downloaded. Like again, like there's random ones that are like probably someone checked it out at one point, but like legitimately, I think there's like 150 something countries in the world. And, like, we've had downloads in, like, 125 of them.
God, isn't that bizarre? I
Yeah.
feel like
There's
I've only
25
heard of 20.
we haven't touched.
You've only heard of 20
I feel
countries.
like I've only heard of 20 countries.
There's
Name
a lot.
them. Name the 20 you know.
Let's see how many countries you can name.
I know. I'm going to keep count.
Okay, she's going to count. Let's see.
United States.
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Spain.
I thought you were going to go.
Yeah, I did too.
in a lot.
Canada.
There we go.
Antarctica.
That's a continent, but I guess...
Is it a continent?
I don't think that's a country. Maybe I'm off on that, but I don't think that's a
country. Look it up.
Germany, Russia. What is that? What am I at, 7?
You're already asking.
God, I don't even know if I can get to 20. Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia?
It's the Czech Republic now.
The Czech Republic. Is it a country?
It's a continent for sure. I don't think it's a country.
Australia,
Okay.
Asia.
Asia's not.
Asia's not.
Australia,
So I'm taking Antarctica off.
China, Japan. Is that 11? Sri Lanka.
Yeah, okay. You know that because we know someone from there.
Ireland, Italy, the Philippines. Shout out to Han here.
Thank you.
Kenya, Uganda.
You're literally
Belize.
You're naming stuff that we are associated with somehow.
Oh, God. What am I at, 18? Is that 18?
You can't even get to 20?
Hold on.
That's man, I could get. I bet.
Oh, just wait a second. All right.
He's going to think about it.
Oh, my God. Singapore.
Is that a city or a
Wait.
country? That's a city. It is. I know what country that's in. Don't look it up because he's going to know.
Yeah, it is a city. You basically just said like Austin.
Romania.
Yeah, that's one.
France.
There we
No.
go. I was waiting on
yeah,
France.
I was thinking.
He said Italy.
Yeah, I got you.
You got 20.
I got 20. That's all I need to do. Wow.
Oh my God.
You got like
That was
5%.
that was so much harder than
no.
it needed to be.
Guatemala.
21.
Chile.
22.
Chile.
I mean, I think I could name. I could name a lot more than that.
Well, you do a lot
You
more
went to
travel.
college.
Go,
I didn't go to college and like, guess what? You're taking countries 101.
Africa.
Africa's
a continent.
You've named 3 continents in this. You said Antarctica, Asia,
Asia.
and Africa.
Brazil.
Yep, there you go. I would have went in a line. I would have went like U.S., Canada, Mexico.
No, Canada, U.S.,
Well, I know,
Mexico.
but, like, we don't live in Canada. So you start with the U.S. And then you hit
Mexico, Costa Rica, Guatemala,
like Honduras,
Ecuador.
Yeah, like all those. And then you got all the like little countries that are like islands that are like the Bahamas, Jamaica, Barbados, St. John, St.
Thomas.
Aruba. Should have just hit islands. You would have got a bunch of them.
You guys have spent a lot more time researching this than I have.
Never
We've-
once researched it.
No, we've just been to places.
Well, okay, well, therein lies the issue is that I have not even been out of the U.S.
Costa Rica sits between Ecuador and Guatemala.
Okay.
And I know that because when we went to Costa Rica, the
Sheriff.
cook that made our food was from Guatemala, so we ate Guatemalan food for a week in Costa Rica, and a lot of the kids at the school were from Ecuador.
I don't remember any of that.
I remember all of that. I also discovered a love for chickies in the freezer.
For what?
Chickies. The little cookies with the chocolate bottom, and they would stick them in the freezer and then give them to us cold.
Yeah, I do remember that, but I don't think either of us have had those since 2017.
No, I have, because when your mom went back, she brought me 2 packs of them. And then I went through them really quick because they're really good.
One thing we do have to talk about before we get into episodes 12 and 13.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Belize.
No, I don't know
Chili.
what she's doing.
I said those.
Yeah, those are 2 of the
I
ones
know.
you
I
said.
named 2 that he called.
The Cyrus and TJ fight.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was coming in last episode, and I believe you said in our Slack group you thought it was.
Yes.
And then
I've seen it.
Yeah, and I've seen it. And I was like, okay, well, this is it, because they are in the sand, and like that's the setting that I remember, and then it just didn't happen. And I was
what are
like,
you talking about?
I was just like, well, maybe that's a different season. I was like, maybe
Which was my thought too.
Yeah, I was like, maybe it's one of the Infernos or a different Gauntlet or something. And then it turns out it's not. And then there was a big debate in our Patreon Slack group, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast, because some of them are like, no, I've seen that in the episode recently. And then other ones are like, well, I have the TV rips and it's not in there. And I think what we like came to the conclusion of was that it just is such an infamous fight that even though it was it was shown on the reunion, that it just kind of outshone the season and became just a viral kind of video.
Which is where all the weirdness came in, because I can tell you, I've never watched that reunion.
I haven't either.
I've also never searched any behind the scenes or special clips from this season.
I haven't either, but I've seen that fight.
I know. Like because I told you guys when we started recording this, I watched this season recently, like within the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've saw that fight.
There's no way it's been re-edited.
I'm telling you, I saw it. And that was what was crazy is because a lot of us in there were like, yeah, we've seen this.
There was 2 or 3 that said they've seen it, and then there was another 3 that said no, it's not. And the reason that I'm going to say it wasn't in there is because the 2 people who are the most accurate when it comes to stats and challenge information, Statman Paul and Greg, both said that it was not in the original.
That's bizarre. It's wild because.
And honestly, as we've been watching this season, I don't think I've seen this whole season before.
What do you call that? What do you call that when this happens? Is it Stockholm Syndrome?
No, I said the Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
Stockholm Syndrome is when
when
you're
you're
kidnapped, and then after a while you start to feel bad for your kidnapper, and you just
sympathize.
associate yourself
And so
with
if they
them.
get caught, you're like, it wasn't really that bad. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
a lot of like domestic bad relationships have that,
Right.
where you kind of stick up for your abuser. Mm-hmm. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Happens all the
The
time.
Mandela effect is more of like a collective, like the masses assume something happened and it really didn't. This is just I think I've seen this clip in the sense of it's like, oh, top whatever challenge fights, or to Hannah's point of view, since she hasn't seen it, in that elimination, Cyrus and TJ get into it because
it's a legit like
he's upset about I guess the way they're calling that beach brawl, like to get pushed out of the ring.
Well, I knew he started arguing with TJ, but then it just cut.
Well, they go at it and he gets into it with TJ, and this is TJ's first season, remember?
Yeah.
And like some people said, like that was kind of like the thing that solidified TJ as like the guy going forward, because he wasn't going to put up with people acting like that. And I don't know. I've seen that clip.
I don't know
definitely
what
seen it
clip
too.
you're talking about.
Can we pull it up?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, see if you can find it, Zach. We'll just watch it right here.
Yeah, I have my computer muted, so let me the Gauntlet 2 Cyrus and TJ fight. It's probably gonna be on like Daily Motion or something like that. Video clips, Reddit. It's on Reddit right here. It's on Twitter. Let's see what's on Reddit. Yeah, this is it right here.
Play that thing.
Let me. I gotta turn my volume up.
It's pretty wild.
Oh, hold on. I may have volume down. Yeah, this is definitely from that episode. Oh, it's muted on Reddit. It's by default muted.
Wow.
I like that Timmy broke it up.
But Timmy's like going after TJ.
Reunion. It's the reunion. Yeah.
What really was. Cyrus is huge. Yeah, Cyrus is big, and I just figured I had a little speed advantage, and since he ain't here, I probably would have won.
Yeah, so that's 100% the reunion.
So Cyrus didn't go to the reunion.
I guess not, yeah.
So, I love that response, by the way, when Cyrus makes a comment, he's a grown man, and TJ's like,
Who is it?
Who is it?
Yeah.
Who isn't a grown man? I love that.
Yeah. I've seen that clip, I don't know how many times, but I did not watch that reunion.
Well, I've never seen that clip. It was brand new to my eyeballs.
Yeah, anyway, it's just, it wasn't a fight in the sense of, like, oh, they were, like, actually, like, physical.
It was an altercation.
But, like, they were heated, both
Yeah.
of them. And, again, I was like, I guess there's another elimination in the sand where Cyrus is wearing red and Derek's involved somehow. But shout out to Timmy for breaking it up. He's 31 at this time, but he still seems like I like that he came in. He's like, act professional. He's like somebody's dad.
Well, at first I thought it was like that ref guy that during the dailies that has the whistle.
Oh yeah,
but then he came into view, and I was like, oh, it's just Timmy.
I do really like Timmy. I like Timmy on this
He's
show.
grown on me.
So yeah, I had to talk about that, and I didn't know if you'd ever seen it, but I know that Jake and I had talked about it in the Slack group.
I had never heard of it, so
Yeah, it's just
I learned
it's so
something
weird
new
that
today.
it's in like it's so ingrained in this season, and like it's
not really part of the season.
yeah, but everyone knows about it. That's like been watching the show for a long time. But yeah, I do think now that we're this far into the season, I don't think I've ever finished this season. Mm-hmm. I think I just probably saw a handful of episodes, and because I didn't have a DVR back then, and I wasn't probably for sure when it came on, that I just never got to see the end of it. So we start episode 12, and it kind of starts with a night out, and then I guess everyone comes back home, and it's 1:30 in the morning.
Computer access.
That's true. They did have a computer there. Also, could not remember what the guy's name that was upset was.
I
It's
had
Jeremy.
that same problem. Yeah, because
but
I was
recognize him.
Yeah, I was making a note of a quote from him, and I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, I was
Jake,
like,
I can't tell you how many times somebody would be on screen and I would ask Zach, who is that?
true. You also think Kara and Keena look alike,
Kara's not there anymore, so I know it's Keena.
but I typically know all the people on this season.
I can't tell these guys
And
apart.
I like until it came like halfway through the episode and his name popped up as like a lower third.
I was like, is it Ryan?
And no,
Is his name Ryan?
I was like, it's not Randy. I was like, Randy's the other boring guy, and I was like, Randy's dating Keena, and I was just like, why do I not know his name? And if you were to give me 10 guesses, I would not have said Jeremy.
Is there a David on here?
Yes.
Yeah, David's the one that said if he had someone's got to sleep with Beth, and he's like, it'd be a bad night for me and whatever.
Okay. I don't know what David looks like, but for some reason that name, I keep thinking there's someone named David in the show.
David's a pretty focal point of the season.
David, Randy, and Jeremy are all the same person.
Oh, that's disrespectful to David.
They
I
are
think,
all
yeah.
the same person to my eyeballs.
David and Timmy are on the same type of level.
Randy's got that haircut with the bangs where when he starts sweating, it turns into
He looks
three
like
strands.
He looks like Josh Hartnett kind of back in the day, like that vibe. But yeah, Randy's super forgettable. But it's Jeremy was so forgettable. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna write whatever his name. I was like, I don't remember it, and I hope that he's gonna get a lower third later. And you know what? He did. But I guess he was upset that everyone came home drunk at 1:30 in the morning, and we found out later from a little thing. I guess he just doesn't go out with them. He just stays
I didn't
home.
know they could do that.
He did, because he said at the end of the
You know
episode.
what? We see this now. Like maybe that's why Alton got so upset that one season, or like because they had said to precedent, like you don't have to go.
Oh yeah, I don't think that was quite the
No?
same. I think
I was about to bring that up.
Battle of the Seasons. Is that what that
yeah.
was?
I was about to
That
bring that
was
up because
8 years later.
because there was someone on that season that didn't want to go out
It was
while
Alton.
everybody else did. So why didn't they let him stay home?
Yeah, yeah.
If they're letting this guy do it.
They were like, everyone has to go, and Alton's like, too bad, screw you guys, and then no one went. But yeah, this Jeremy, I guess, stayed home. It's weird that like, because we've seen like some more like dramatic nights from this group. Like this just seemed like everyone's kind of came home and made food. Like no one was fighting, no one was like yelling from what we saw.
Nobody did
that
anything
guy was
crazy.
just checking his email in the kitchen or whatever.
Jeremy.
And he just had a problem with them being loud, I guess. So then we transition to David. I don't remember if he was talking to Beth or what happened, but he just said, I don't trust Beth. She's naturally deceptive. And I was like, that's a pretty good descriptor of
He
Beth.
said he trusts her about as far as he can throw her.
I think that was later in the episode.
Oh.
It may have been here, but
Well, I have
yeah.
a note where she was talking to somebody. I didn't know who it was, but she said that she didn't think that people believed she's a good competitor.
yeah,
Which
I
I don't
may
think
have been this
she's a
part.
good competitor.
No, I don't think she's a good competitor.
But
I think she's a bigger girl just in general, and so in one-on-one elimination, she can kind of throw her weight around. But like, I would never say Beth is one of the stronger girls on the team.
Yeah. And so she's got the idea that other people think the same thing.
I mean, I
and
put
is
her,
offended by that.
I put her in the like Montana level, if I'm being honest.
Who's Montana?
Maybe a little the redhead that she got into it with.
Oh.
I'd give Beth an edge because she can run, I guess. Apparently, that's her thing.
Well, she said she can run, and then when it came to running daily, she got real upset.
But she just gives up on
everything,
like height stuff, and that's what a lot of these dailies are. So,
well, this couple episodes here, Han must have really gave you plenty of ammunition.
With what?
Beth.
Yeah, she sucks.
Yeah, we'll get to, obviously in the next episode more happens, but we go to the daily. It's called Spare Tire, and it's just like you got to go across and then like drop a tire each time, and then you're trying to get points for every tire you go through. You get a point.
This daily threw you for a loop.
Here's where my problem was. So the vets, the first person goes through, they got 23 points because there's 23 tires, right? They drop one tire. The next person goes through, they get 22 points, right? Are you tracking me so far?
And they have to drop another tire when they
Beth
go through.
fell on the third one. So they lost 21 or 20 points. I don't remember if they had dropped 2 on one of those rounds. So you're following me so far, right?
Okay.
When the rookies go, Beast is the first one to drop, right?
Right.
So
is she the first one to go?
She's the first one to go.
Okay.
They lose 23 points right off the bat. So the veterans can only lose. I mean, the veterans had only lost like 19 or 20 tires. The rookies lost 23 on the first run. There's no way they can make that up, right? That's the math that I was trying to figure out. I was like, how can they make that up? They just lost 23 points from the first person failing. And then at the end of the game, they only won by like 15, apparently, which doesn't make any sense because only... and then that's not counting out and falling. So how did they only lose by 15 points? They should have lost by like 40-something.
I'll be honest with you. At the point I was watching this, I stopped.
But does what I say make sense, or am I off base on that?
No, I can see where it would create questions.
Yeah, because they have the same number of people. They made Randy sit out. It's not like the rookies had an extra person.
I made a note about that. Why did they stop doing that now in these newer seasons? If you don't have an equal number of players on each team, make someone sit out.
I don't like that as much. I like sometimes make someone go twice rather than have someone sit out.
Either one. I'd be fine with either one of those.
Yeah.
Instead of having a team of 3 versus a team of 10 and having just having everybody compete.
The winner of this, the captain gets a Sirius satellite boombox and 1-year subscription.
I didn't know Sirius made boomboxes. I had never heard of a satellite boombox before.
I bet that was kind of a short-lived thing. I mean, Sirius was like
Sirius XM radio.
Yeah, well, XM was its own thing, and Sirius was its own thing, and they
combined
went,
into
they went in
Sirius
together.
XM.
Yeah,
I never used Sirius.
My dad uses it a lot because it came with his car, and so he just like uses it all the time.
It came with my car, but
for 3 months.
For 3 months, but I forgot and never used it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because I use Spotify anyway.
That's the thing. I feel like
At this point, it's kind of useless, isn't it?
I just with
'Cause you can
podcasts and
anything on Sirius.
You can get anything on Spotify.
Sirius, what is FM?
Sirius XM
XM.
because it's not the radio
FM
waves,
or
it's
AM.
satellite.
Like you can get on any of these streaming apps, right? Like,
Well, and the big draw of satellite radio initially was, one, you never lose signal, so you're gonna have your favorite stations wherever you're at, which that I get that. But 2, you could have unedited stuff because it's not over the airwaves, it's a subscription thing. But like you said, now you can listen to whatever you want at all times, and it's very rare to have like a drop in signal to where you can't stream something. And so I would assume satellite radio has to be very much struggling as a business model these days.
I mean, it was huge 10 years ago because I remember when I got my car, some of my, I was driving 15, 16, and one of my friends had Sirius XM radio in their car, and my car apparently came with it, but the subscription died before we bought it.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. But I was always so jealous of my friend that had it. I was like, this is so not fair. All I have is 107.7.
Oh, see, I had an iPod and all that. Like,
Well, I finally got an iPhone and an aux cord, so I could plug up like my iTunes music to it.
I tell you what, the cassette aux thing was iconic.
yeah.
I used to roll that
You
thing.
used to do that with a portable CD player into the cassette thing. But yeah, I remember my first iPod, man. I got it when I was in 10th grade. It was 20 gigabytes, and that was the biggest one they offered at the time. And it was like a Game Boy type screen. It wasn't color. It was just like
I had one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in a little box too.
Yep.
It wasn't like even.
But
flat.
that was like such a big deal at the time.
I remember it's almost the size of my iPhone. It was big, real chunky, and like bright silver on the back, and it was white on the front, and it had the big dial
the
on
wheel was
the
cool.
middle.
Yeah. Because you used to here's what you young kids don't get.
You Gen Zers.
Back in high school, when I was driving, I would have my phone, then I would have my iPod, and then I would have a GPS. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't all together.
Absolutely. When my first year of
Motorola
driving,
Razr.
when I
Sony Ericsson.
You had it, I know.
my junior year, I had my phone, and then I had my little iPod, and I kept it in the car, kept it charged, and it would stay plugged up to my aux cord, and then my GPS, I had a built-in TomTom in my car, so like you push the button and it pops up.
This last week.
We did, but yeah, like that way, anytime I turned my car on, my iPod was already playing, so like the music would keep going.
I don't like that. I wouldn't, because my moods change. You got to pick what you want.
I always had one mood, but I do remember that. And there were times like if my iPod was almost dead and I was going to be on the road for a while, I would have to decide between, do I want to charge my phone or do I want to charge my iPod?
Yeah, that was a
and
thing.
I could only
remember
pick
that.
one.
So in the daily, anyway, now that we've gone through the math and all that of it, Beth says she wants to go towards the beginning because she doesn't do good with heights and she quit on the other thing. And so they put her third. And
Apparently that's too far back.
she just doesn't do good again, which shouldn't surprise anyone.
Well, she got like what, halfway through?
I don't even know if she got halfway. It just wasn't a good showing.
Like it came to the point where like everybody on her team was telling her just drop, jump.
Yeah, they literally were just like, you're just wasting everyone's time. Just forfeit and get. You're not going to make it through in the time frame, which was 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. I did think it was funny that David's shorts came off about halfway through. I don't know if you noticed, but when people were flipping out, like half of them were losing one shoe as they were flipping out of there.
Their left shoe, right?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get that detailed about it.
We're talking about nail cuticles over here. What do you mean?
Not cuticles, nail beds.
Beds, the nail head beds.
Kari Maria has the best nail beds ever.
Yeah.
If she's noticing nail beds, I promise you she's noticing which shoe came off.
Which shoe was it?
I thought it was the left shoe.
But would that be their left or our left?
Our right.
I think it was their left because most of them were jumping out like
Superman.
head first.
That's how Superman does. You have your arms straight forward.
But was it their left or our right?
No, head
Was
first.
it stage left or stage right?
Which way are you looking?
Stage right.
She was upside down.
Oh my god.
She was in one of those circus
like
things.
Like the roundabouts.
Oh, sure.
Have you ever been to Roundabout?
On the road?
Yeah,
We have one
We have
a
one.
mile
I know.
away.
yeah.
Have you been on it? Do you
Really?
know how to drive
He's-
through a roundabout?
He just flies over it.
We go dead center.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen videos of people doing that.
Yes.
They go flying. Yeah, Beth falls and all that, and she's the only one on her team that doesn't make it.
Which is
What?
good point. Katie's on that team. Heights challenge and a water challenge. She won. Not only did she make it all the way through, at the end they have to jump into the water. She didn't get hurt at all.
I feel like this was pre-Katie being phased by anything heights and water related, because she's a lot of their dailies have been in the same little port area, and we haven't seen her like freaking out about stuff. I think,
and she's not gotten injured.
I think the trauma came after she smashed her face so many times, and now she just doesn't deal with it.
I just made a note that she made it out in one piece. She's fine.
A Beast falls right away for the rookies.
She's pretty useless too.
Agreed.
Kena thinks so.
I don't.
Or somebody else does.
I don't have any, like, if I'm looking back on like all of my challenge memories, I couldn't tell you anything that a Beast did that was notable.
Nothing.
I remember her being on seeing her on other seasons.
I think she was on like the Ruins or something like one of those seasons we rewatched at one point.
I'm familiar with a Beast, but again, like that, I couldn't tell you if she was good at something.
No, like again, it's I couldn't tell you anything she's done. I'm seeing if she was on the Ruins because
well, she fell pretty quickly.
Yeah, she was.
And then when she gets back on the dock, she just like immediately goes to Kena and just cries.
Well, she was the first one on her team, and she fell. And so this is where I found out Jeremy's name, because he had a little talking point. I don't know what he said, but I was like, oh, Jeremy. And then Alton ended up in a weird, huge gap that he couldn't get across. You know, shout out to Mark. Like, Mark's real long. He was able to get across that big one, but Alton couldn't do it, and he fell. And somehow all the vets are cheering like they won, which mathematically in my head, from what I understand of the rules, that's what makes sense. And then they were like, oh, I'm sorry, the next day. I got confused. Yeah. You're right. Because again, they're both in that same harbor.
Yeah.
So the vets do win this one. 148 to 163, which to me, again, the math doesn't make any sense. I did get confused on that.
Two notes on this. One, both of them on Randy. Randy had to sit out because their team had too many guys.
He was acting like a high school basketball coach.
He was writing on the back of like a printout sheet of paper and a pencil. It was like he was taking notes while the vets were going.
At one point,
then he was taking notes while the rookies were going and talking to the rookies.
At one point, they did a over-the-shoulder shot showing like his piece of paper, and they like blurred out a bunch of stuff at the top. And I was like, what could be on this paper that is like you had to blur out?
Yeah, I couldn't make it out, but it was just weird that like
I think
why was he doing that?
I think it's a guy's elimination, and I think he was trying to look like he was involved.
But how
you have someone in your life that you talked with us about right before we started recording that has to be overly involved in things because
yes,
yeah. And so I think that's part of what it is.
What sort of music you listen to lately?
That's not even the person I was talking about. I was talking about. Yeah, and I feel like Randy was like, I have to appear to be doing something.
Yeah,
because otherwise it's a guy's elimination day, and if our team loses, I didn't do anything. But he was like making notes, and I was like, what? There's no strategy here.
Well, one, who gave it to him? Did he bring it with him? Knowing that he was going to sit out? I mean, there's no way.
They didn't know until they got there.
So, like, my questions were, is he taking notes on how the vets are performing in order to tell the rookies how to do it or what to change? Or is he keeping tally of how many points everybody's getting?
I legitimately think it's just someone who was doing something to appear to be busy, like people do at, like, work all the time.
But how did he get the pencil and the pen?
I don't...
the paper.
I'm sure somebody on production got something.
Yeah, I mean...
He just asked for it?
I mean, there was production people doing, like, stopwatches and stuff like that there. Like, I'm sure he's like, hey, can I
a good referee always has pen and paper on him.
Also, next note on Randy, my last note for this daily. Nice little quote. According to Randy, Alton has always been their guy in the clinch.
He did say that.
And I was like, did he say clinch?
Chevelle actually has a song called The Clincher. So I wonder if there's any correlation there.
Do you think that they got inspired?
Well,
Because it was after this season.
It couldn't be because that song came out after.
No, I'm saying, do you think that they were inspired by the challenge? By do you think Randy inspired the name of a song?
Well, for all we know, y'all know that song, The Clincher.
I don't. I think I know what album it's off of. I will say, the first 2 Chevelle albums are still good.
Yeah,
Anything after Wonder What's Next is not good though.
That's true.
I remember they did a song for like The Punisher or something, some movie, and I was like, this sucks. And you know what? It happens. Fell off a cliff.
Well, there you go.
So we go in the deliberation. Again, it's the rookie team, so they just let the captain pick. And he's like, I'm just going to pick Jeremy. And Jeremy's like blindsided. He's like, I had no idea this was going to happen. And TJ walks in, and he's like, you kind of had to have a feeling, right? And he's like, no. And I was like, well, that's got to be a blow to your confidence.
Because even TJ's thinking, no, this is the guy.
Yeah, clearly this is the guy you pick. And so they spin it. By the way, almost lands on Captain's Choice again. It was two clicks away from Captain's Choice.
Well, if it wasn't going to land on Captain's Choice, this was... this is,
It's almost like it did land on Captain's Choice, because this is probably what Alton would have chosen.
We've seen over the seasons...
I disagree with that.
Certain competitors have certain games that they are just unbeatable at.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it doesn't really make sense. What's Kyle's? Kyle has one that, like, you're just not going to beat him.
The like, pole wrestle. Like, a variation of pole wrestle. He's going to win somehow.
He's going to win it. This capture the flag game is clearly... Alton's.
Well,
yes.
I'm disagreeing with Hannah because she said that's what Alton would pick. Alton's, I think he did it earlier in the season. He picked something that he thinks the opponent has a fair chance at.
Yeah,
I think Jeremy had an okay chance at this.
I don't think anyone watched him destroy Adam and would be like, I think I got a shot.
I don't. If you go back and like really watch it close. Because they edited it together to make it look like it was closer.
It was not.
Because when he blew the horn, it looked like Jeremy stepped down twice before he was on the ground.
So yeah,
so he didn't even get a quarter of the way up.
I was gonna get into that because I realized I wrote Capture the Flag and I was like, man, I was focusing on it was almost Captain's Choice, and then I was like, oh God, I was like, this is the thing that Alton. It was unbelievable. Like, I think we talked about it. I asked Hannah when it happened originally that the rumor was he went so fast that they made him do it again because they didn't get good camera shots of it. It was over so fast. And still the second one, if that's what happened, was over in like 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he legitimately looks like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean...
I don't think anyone on that beach... I think if you put Alton in like a 40-pound weighted vest, he still would beat everyone there on that. And
he's their guy in the clinch.
That's true. So we start the thing off.
That's such a stupid word. I'm sorry.
He did say it.
Yeah.
I definitely think he meant clutch. But
yeah, I know. But he said clinch, and I can't get over it.
Oh God.
Jeremy says a quick prayer before going into this, and I guess that's
both of them made references to it.
Yeah, Alton's like, Alton's like, if God's on my side today.
Well, he said, I hope God has me in His favor again.
Okay, yeah, and that's kind of generic, but Jeremy's he was like praying.
He's like,
and I was like,
you just
know
get
what?
all the glory,
I was
God.
like, if you were going up against Alton in this,
God,
I'd probably pray too.
I was like, what else?
Please, God.
Yeah. I was like,
that's probably what it would sound like.
I was like, you don't have a shot at this point. And so, Alton wins, and they did cut it to where they were cutting back and forth, and like, oh, it's close. When they showed the shot of Alton actually touching the flag, you saw Alton's entire body, and Jeremy wasn't even in the shot. So you saw Alton head to toe, and Jeremy wasn't there. So the thing probably was only like 15 feet tall. And so if Alton's 6 feet or so, that means Jeremy's not even halfway up, really.
I don't even think he got a quarter of the way up.
Yeah. And
my man was fighting it too. The small little window they showed him, God, he was giving it his all.
He was, but like you saw him grabbing, and he was like getting rocked because like Alton's feet were already at his face level.
Yeah,
and you know what, Jeremy, that's when he said, I didn't go to the clubs or the night outs, and that's probably what cost me in this game. Being, I guess, friends with, some of those people. And, after that, he's like, you got 20 minutes, good job. And then I don't know what led to it, but I just have a note that said, Brad calls out Beth and says that she's a straight up disease. And, in the typical crooked hat Brad fashion that he does.
He still does that.
It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. He didn't do it on. Did he do it on All Stars?
What he does is the backwards hat that sits right down
on his eyebrows.
Yeah.
He used to do just crooked to the side,
way off to the side.
And I think he wears mostly the hats that don't have the like this. Right, it's closed up. It's like a fitted hat.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what
you're wearing a hat right now.
I'm wearing a hat, and it's not sitting on my eyebrows.
No. Yeah, and then the post credits was I don't know if it was Jeremy's mattress or what, but they just were all in a room
jumping on it
and pretending to do wrestlers and like the people's elbows on a mattress, and then Derek jumped off of a bunk onto it.
Speaking of people's elbows, don't know if you guys saw, but Mark Long and The Miz had a little reuniting segment at WrestleMania, which I kind of want to go back and watch. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but WrestleMania is always a spectacle.
I didn't know it was on WrestleMania, but I saw the picture going around.
It was after his match.
I mean, Mark's built like a professional wrestler.
He's bigger than The Miz, if we're being honest.
Yeah. But The Miz is probably better.
Oh, he's definitely
talking
and there's such a thing as being in ring shape.
Yeah. Mark to me is, no disrespect to him because he is in phenomenal shape, especially for 50 or 51. It's more of like a guy that just like hits the gym really hard. It's not like running out and like performing for 20 minutes a time or whatever. So we get into episode 13. It starts with Keena and Randy like doing like grappling practice.
It was like he was trying to teach her how to fight because he was telling her, he's like, you got to get real low.
I think it's a girls' elimination coming up, and it could be beach brawl or something, and she hasn't done that elimination. And I think that's kind of where he was like working her on, is like get low, because that's how Derek beat Cyrus.
I mean, that makes more sense now. Because I couldn't figure out why he was.
I think they said something about beach brawl, and so they're kind of like scrapping and whatever, and they cut to, at some point, I think it was David and Julie and Anissa out on like a balcony, and Anissa's like, she needs to go, and then Julie's like, God, she needs this money so bad, she's broke. And
she said, Beth is broken, we'll do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, and then Beth comes out, and she was just like, yeah, I agree with you guys. And she's like, what'd you say about me? And like, they didn't really say, and like Beth kind of leaves, and she calls Anissa the weak, or she may say it to Anissa's face, honestly. She said Anissa is the weakest player there. Oh, she did say it to her face. She says, and she doesn't run. And then Anissa's like, yeah, but I got heart. And I was like, well, good God. I was like, Anissa not running has been a thing for 18 years at this point.
No.
And
we never addressed it.
No.
The woman never addressed it.
No.
Ever. Not one time.
And she even admitted, she's like, well, I got heart, though. And we had some people in our Slack group that brought it up. They were like, Anissa is so boring on this season. Like, until the end of this episode, she's basically just been background. Not really hardly any confessionals.
I forgot that she was here.
She doesn't do anything during the dailies, really. She's not been in any eliminations. And I was like, man, it's like she is very, like, back of the, I guess, like, pecking order. Like, they don't care that she's there. She's not a production person that they are like, hey, we got to get her take on camera. And so then Beth is crying, and Julie goes up, which I think it's funny that Julie is like trying to console her because she was just like, oh, she's so broke, she needs this so bad, and
just throw out the woman's financial status on national TV,
which is funny
behind her back.
Well, it's funny because we've talked about before from people in our Patreon group have said that back in the day, when all these real world and road rules and the challenge people used to do speaking engagements and stuff, that apparently Julie would find out someone speaking somewhere and they would call that place and be like, oh, I'll do it for cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that is really funny. Like, just if you were one of the people doing it, like, that would suck a lot. But
that's like what a villain does.
Yeah,
in a movie.
I always thought Julie was kind of a villain. So Beth gives this like, oh, this is just going to motivate me more, blah, to Julie, and kind of like straight at the camera at one point. And we go to the daily. It's called Easy Does It. And this one, you win a T-Mobile Sidekick 2 with 1 year service, which I would say is a much better prize than the SiriusXM boot box.
Mm-hmm.
Because those sidekicks were a big deal when they came out. I never had one.
Yeah.
T-Mobile,
oh, we got a text from TJ on our T-Mobile Sidekick.
T-Mobile wasn't a thing where we lived back then.
No.
It is now.
Yeah, but like where we grew up, that wasn't like, you either had Singular at the time,
Singular Wireless,
or Verizon, and Verizon was hit or miss down there. So they kind of start going, and like the rookies go first, and Keena and Jillian, which are the two smallest people on that team for sure, DQ. And at one point, Keena yells, "I'm not Stretch Armstrong."
Good reference.
Did you have a Stretch Armstrong?
No.
I had one. They kind of had a revival. They're from like the 60s, but they like rebranded it in the 90s, and I had one. And
but they came back like a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I thought I saw a resurgence of them.
I had one,
maybe not like a big one.
I had one, and eventually, like, because it's literally just like corn syrup inside of a toy, and it like kind of hardens up, and the more you play with it, the stretchier and longer it gets. And at one point, he just like, you just whispered that away. At one point,
that was a good one.
The arm just like kind of ripped a little bit, and so it just was like oozing out all that corn syrup. And
I just realized that was a good one.
I know.
Why did it take you so long to realize
that? The world, man.
I just started thinking back over what you said, and I was like, "Oh, that was a good one."
What do you say when you grab it?
I think
and stretch it.
The more you play with it, the longer it gets.
Yeah, the more you play with it, the stretchier and longer it gets.
That is the absolute
stretchier.
That is the absolute. That's what she said.
Yeah.
But why did you tap me and get off mic?
You got off mic and got real quiet
and whisper. That's what she said.
I don't know. We're for the kids, but it's out there now.
Well,
while we're on Keena. Yeah,
I was just gonna say,
yes,
Stretch Armstrong is a band that I really like too.
It's probably some stupid ska
band.
They're not ska band. They're just a hardcore band.
Well, I gotta call out Stat Checker Paul. You know,
we found out something about him this week.
We did, and I called him out on it.
Yeah.
To which he tried to deny, but you can't. Here's what we found out about this time a year ago. Right, is that there's a little lady on this show named Big T.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. That I can't. Some things are inexplicable in this life. There is no explanation for it.
Where did the sun come from?
Yeah,
and
it's a force of nature.
Yeah.
Of these things. Well, for whatever reason, Big T, who we have gone on record many times saying it's the wrong show for.
Yes.
But what happened is something, in the total opposite direction, in that there's like a mob mentality in defending her.
It became like militant.
It was
like,
and
if you don't like her, you're the worst person.
Like people's character was attacked and everything, and like all this stuff. It was bizarre. Well, Paul here. I have in particular mentioned Keena's kind of annoying. She has
this season for sure.
Yeah, she's kind of annoying because there's this weird those people that are very paternal.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Right, but there's for no need, and it's very off-putting and stuff. Well, that's Keena to me this season. Is there's very just you don't do that. You know what I mean?
You're doing the finger thing.
That's what she does. It's very you don't do that.
Yeah.
No. It's like why are you acting like that? You know.
At one point, with Kara in one of those episodes, she's like, "Don't you dare!"
She did, and it's like, why are you so like weirdly intense? And I don't know, it's just weird.
It did give the vibe of "Don't you dare! You're about to be grounded."
It did, and it is off-putting, and it's not. It's just weird. Well, our guy stat checker Paul, boy, did he go to bat for her.
I don't mind Keena.
She is his big T.
Yeah, and he was like, "Well, I didn't like her on another season, so it doesn't matter." And I was like, I still think it's a valid criticism of her this season is that because he was like, well, she's always in a stressful position, being the captain and whatever.
So is everybody else.
And I was like, that's kind of part of the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't enjoy her, if I'm being honest. This season.
I mean, like, came out of nowhere too. Came out the woods for this one. Like, really went to bat for her. So, everybody's got their big T.
Yours was Polly for a little while. I think he kind of cooled on that one.
Well, he ain't been around.
He also made some comments about some things that kind of cooled you on that a little bit.
Well, my whole thing was always about his performance in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not like I'm not one of these like Pauly supporters or anything, but
but you were for a minute.
the guy brought a dynamic to the show you just ain't had since he's been gone. So
he brought the Lions mentality.
He did. He did.
I don't think if him and Kara were on these more recent seasons, it would have been better shows.
I do. 100%.
I do not.
I don't think so.
No
way.
100%.
I don't at all.
100%.
I honestly, like, every time that they kind of pop up, I'm just like, whew. I'm glad that I don't have to see them every week.
So who's your current big T?
I don't. But see, like,
who's my big T?
I feel like,
Josh or something.
No.
Oh my God. There's freaking what's the Spaniard that was on?
Oh, Logan.
Logan. You are.
Or
there's one more.
Nam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nam.
Nam.
100%.
It's 100. Yeah.
It's Nam more than it is Logan.
It is Nam more than Logan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who mine would be.
I don't have one. I feel like I'm very in the like.
I think mine would probably be like Frank.
Yours is probably Ashley Mitchell.
Because the thing,
I am a big. Yeah, I enjoy.
I would say probably Frank for me because.
But we're talking current people.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say with him, with Big T, like people overlook her like flaws, and I do that for the sake of watchability with Frank. But I don't think Big T is watchable, so that's a whole nother thing.
Well, is your CT?
I don't think that's a good one because CT is one of the best people on the show.
Yeah.
Still. Arguably the best of all time.
Arguably.
Wes.
I still think I think that's a lazy comparison. Like putting Wes in the same category as a Big T.
But these people have like, we're talking about people who like don't really have any real standing in the show.
I would say if we're going that route and someone who hasn't won, it would probably be Devin. Because I really enjoy watching Devin. Just because he's a different type of, and he's won some eliminations. It's hard for me to think of a current player that is as bad as Big T is at the game that I would like.
Well,
think people are dumb.
I wouldn't say Nam is bad at the game. He had a crappy partner in Lolo, and then because of Big T, he got COVID restrictions and got kicked off of his second season.
He blew his back out in the other one. So
this isn't current, but Anastasia is one of those for me.
That is one.
Ugh.
That is one for you for sure.
Yeah, that is.
Because she's very bad at the game.
Very bad.
I'm trying to think if I have like someone who's just not good. That I was like, I love watching this person. I can't think of one. I'll try to think of it going in the background. If you guys think of one, go ahead and pop in with it.
But am I right? I mean, that's
I'd
his
have
Big
to
T.
pull out
100%.
previous cast.
So Abyss and Susie DQ. So that's 2 dailies in a row. Abyss has really sucked on.
She couldn't even climb to the top of the ladder.
Again, Abyss, in my mind, has not done anything memorable on the challenge from what I remember.
Nothing.
So once the guys go like MJ and Randy are going. MJ falls off, and so Randy just jumps off the top. But they clearly said at the beginning, you can't jump off. You have to climb down the ladder and restart. And so they get DQ'd. And
the rookies did not have a good showing at this.
That's what you say, but they win.
I know, and that's what didn't make sense.
So, well, here's the thing. So the vets go, Robin and Katie DQ. Beth and Derek DQ because Beth can't climb a ladder. And then Anissa falls and hits her face. And TJ is like, who cares? Get back up there. And then they DQ. And so none of the ladies for the vets made it. None of them. And
then it apparently the last round for the vets was Brad and Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody was saying if Brad and Timmy could pull it off, then that's it.
The vets thought so. They were like, yeah, they're going to, if they get it, and they're like, Timmy, step on Brad's shoulder and like on his head and climb over. And they did do it. And
they made it. And as soon as they got back to the dock, Mark started yelling and jumping around, and they started celebrating. Vets, yeah. And then the rookies, I think the rookies thought the vets won too because they were all like super defeated, super upset.
They showed Alton talking, I think it was Alton, talking to the vets before they went. Mm-hmm. And he somebody said, you guys really have to like crap the bed to like not beat us. Because we didn't do good. They had 3 teams DQ.
And then Keena was upset. She's like, I'm so pissed off right now. I wish the gauntlet was right here.
Which I don't even know what that means.
I think she was mad and she wanted to fight somebody in an elimination. And she thought that they lost. So she's like, well, I'm going in anyway.
Again, I didn't understand I want the gauntlet right here, right now. I didn't get that at all. But anyway, the vets were all celebrating. And 3 teams each DQ'd, so that's 30 minutes on each team's score. And they're like, the veterans, whatever team made it in 3 minutes and whatever, and this one made it in 2:45. And they're like, but the rookies, they made it in 2 minutes flat, and then like Alton and Landon made it in like 1:40. And so they won. And that was what I was thinking of when I said it earlier in the episode, that the veterans were all celebrating and then they lost. And so that's a big upset win for the rookies, especially going first and still winning like that.
But the vets were not actually upset with their loss for about 30 seconds. And then they realized, we lost. That means Beth goes into elimination.
Yeah, you got a good.
We can get rid of Beth.
You got a good chance at some because Brad said she's such a disease, which I'm pretty sure. He says she's a straight up disease. You're such a disease. This is from Home Alone. He has a flashback, and they're like, Kevin, you're such a disease. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's how his brain is all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
So. They go into the deliberation and they do the whole pen and paper voting thing, and they're like, who can take out Beth? Like, we're going to put Anissa in there. And they spin the wheel, and as they're spinning, Anissa's going, beach brawl, beach brawl, beach brawl. And then it lands on beach brawl, and Anissa loses her mind.
She jumps up, starts yelling and cussing, and then runs out the room. She was so excited.
Psychological warfare.
I feel that. Like,
it was insane.
I feel that.
I liked it.
If you're in that moment and you know there's a specific game that
you can beat the person at.
Not you can beat, but you should.
Yeah.
Then and it lands on it, like, yeah, I'd be hyped about it.
Well,
and again, worst case, you're super hyped. Best case, you're super hyped and you scare the other person.
Yeah. Again, Anissa said that she has been mentally ready for elimination for a while, so she's prepared. And then she prayed for beach brawl and then got it. So on top of being ready for elimination ahead of time,
lots of prayer in these 2 episodes.
to get the one elimination that you really want, you got a lot going for you.
Yeah, and like, so they go down to the gauntlet. And I don't know if you saw this, Jake. I rewound it to show Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
Abyss is wearing basically what looks like a wedding dress.
She's getting married after the elimination.
It's literally a like silk, like
what sleeveless.
Halter top, sleeveless.
Yeah, what's it called?
Plain.
No, halter top. It's got the string that ties around your neck.
I didn't know that. But it's like sleeveless, so shoulders are bare, but just like white, shiny
long
dress all the way to the floor. And then she had like a white headband across.
It was a bandana.
Yeah, and I was like...
But it looked like a veil.
I was like, she looks like she's getting married. And I was like, why is this a dress that you would bring on the challenge? So...
You never know.
You know, maybe she thought...
She's there to serve looks.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's about all she's done. And so we get down there, they bring him together, and I almost said to Hannah, oh, what if Beth quits? And then she just does. And I was like, of course she did.
Let me go.
I was about to make a joke about it, and then she did it anyway.
Let me go to bat for her real quick.
No, you cannot defend this.
Let me go to bat.
She literally tells TJ that she's just not doing it.
I'll say what you want. I've got enough.
Look, she didn't want to compromise her values.
Yeah,
and beliefs.
I wrote.
She has no values or beliefs.
Well, first of all, let's break that down. What is a beach brawl that's going to compromise her values and beliefs? Is she like in some weird religion where she can't touch oil, like
or touch other people?
She's like, I am not going to cover myself in oil and degrade my values like this.
She says oiling up and fighting another woman is low class.
Yeah, it's very low class. And then TJ's like, I just think you're scared. And she's like, yeah, no, not even close.
And then he asked her, he's like, well, why are you still here? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I told you to, if you were going to quit, to do it a long time ago, which he did. And I'm glad he called that out. It was at this point maybe a week or two previous.
No, it was further than that. It was 2 girls gauntlets in a row that they just quit.
Yeah.
It was that blonde chick that I don't remember her name. That just quit. And then it was Hasela that quit.
Yeah.
And
he finally said, he's like, if anybody else wants to quit, do it now.
Yeah, and I was like, what does you're not going to compromise her values and beliefs even mean? I was like, she's done other eliminations, so it's not that she's afraid, like she's like, oh, I can't do competition or whatever. I was like, she's scared. 100% she's scared that she's going to get shown up and Anissa's going to beat her. And now she looks like, I can't even say. I can't say the word.
Oh, my God.
I can't say it. But that's what she is. Like, she just looks so scared. And, like, obviously her team's stoked about it.
Oh, yeah, they're super excited.
I think it's Derek. He said the witch is dead.
The witch is dead.
Yeah, and I was like, what a weird... I was like, of course Beth would do this. Make a big show about how she's this evil villain, like, I'm going to get everyone, and
then
all of her
all of her confessionals say, you're never getting rid of me now, because I can beat every single one of you.
She was crying over the Anissa thing early in the episode, and then she's like, this is just going to pump me up so much more to send her home, because she can't do anything. And then she's like, this goes against my beliefs, I need to leave. And it's like, come on, like, you're the worst. You're just the worst person.
Oh, I don't know.
It's bad. It's real bad.
This was awful.
You can't have that many people quit in a season.
Yeah, well, while you guys are upset about it, Anissa was lighting one up after this.
Well, I mean, she did it in the... She was lighting one up at the end of that daily where they're wading out in the water waiting on the results that one day. Yeah, the witch is dead, and then we got something that we have not seen so far.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Well, that happens all the time. They talk directly to the camera multiple times an episode.
Not in the confessionals. I mean, I'm excluding the confessionals.
At one point in this episode, they're just in their room, and Anissa gets a one-on-one with the camera, and she's like, I'm going to send that B-word home. But at the very end, Beth gets in her car and leaves, and then there's like a group of veterans that all get together, and they're like, thanks for nothing. And then I was like, oh, we got a group send-off after she left.
They're so happy.
Yeah. I was like, that should kind of show you where you're at.
And then the post-credit scene, which was very strange to me.
Did you watch it?
I don't ever. I know. Just made it my mind
was
up
weird.
At this point to just not watch
You
it.
do have to watch ads now because we don't have ad free.
Anissa and Katie are sitting outside facing each other. They're both smoking cigarettes.
The same cigarette.
I didn't know they were
sharing
passing
one cigarette.
That's weird. So they were like out of nowhere, Anissa just starts singing. Like the insults that Beth said about her, and then Katie starts singing them back, and then they start singing to each other. It was
you're
uncomfortable.
They're smoking and they are singing, and she's like, "Oh, I can't run, whatever." And then Katie's like, I don't remember the exact words, but she's like, "And you gotta fart." And I was like,
"You can fart on a dime." She was trying to rhyme it,
yeah,
and then she gave up on that.
You can fart on a dime. And
Anissa didn't laugh or anything. She just had a look and just kept going.
And I was like, I guess at a certain point you just get so bored that you share a cigarette and sing about farting. I've never been that bored before. Do you remember when you were a little kid and it felt like things literally took forever? And it's just like, I have to be at school for so long.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No frame of reference.
And now time escapes me, and it's fleeting, and it runs through my fingers like sand. My life is flashing before my eyes.
DC Talk got a song about that.
I pray all the
Mine's
time.
No, I was going to say there's one called Time is Taken Away.
No,
yeah.
I seriously, I feel time passing all the time, and I pray constantly for time to slow down for me, because I feel like every time I blink, I've lost 6 months of my life.
Well, it sounds like you got the same connection to God that Jeremy had when he was facing Alton, because it's not working. Any thoughts on these episodes? You guys good? Who smashed some heads?
TJ, when he announced the daily winners in that second in episode 13, that the vets were so sure that they won. And then he announced that it was actually the rookies, and they were like, "What?"
By the way, speaking of episode 13, 5 episodes left, which one I believe is a reunion. So that means 2 more podcasts for this gauntlet, which should get us to.
Gotta be some sort of All-Stars material dropping soon.
I would assume, because it premieres on the 11th, so that's about 2 weeks before the premiere. 2.5, and so I would assume then we'll kind of start rolling into All-Stars 3.
So Paramount Plus is timing the release based on our schedule of this podcast.
Incorrect. We timed the podcasts to coincide with May 11th.
Not at all.
Who smashed some heads?
Well, because you guys won't give it to her, I'm going to give it to Beth.
Don't you dare.
No.
For standing by her values and beliefs.
I veto that.
I would veto that as well.
Okay, you're voted out.
There's no veto button here.
Well, do you have a hidden immunity
I'm going to
idol?
make one.
No, I don't need it.
You do.
Then if you don't have either one of those, you're out.
I may just beep out what you said.
All right. Well,
Please. I think it'll be really funny.
do it. He won't do it.
Yeah,
do it. Please do it. I think it'll be really funny.
I'm going to give it to David. He lost his shorts and just kept on going.
Was that David?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know which one David is.
David's a pretty distinct character in my mind.
He is to me, too.
Don't have a clue who it is.
So,
him and Timmy coincide for me.
Yeah.
I like Timmy. I could pick out
They
Timmy.
share, like, safari hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who got their head smashed?
Beth.
Jeremy, because
no one remembers.
Well, but no disrespect to anyone named Jeremy.
I got a cousin named Jeremy.
Or Cody.
Yeah.
But I think both those names are 2 of the dumbest sounding names for boys. It's like when you call someone out, "Hey, Cody." I've just always thought.
I think that's a weird.
You have a weird.
That's a weird hill to die on.
You got a weird name prejudice.
Y'all seen Cody?
I think Cody and Jeremy are kind of normal names.
Those are very normal names. Very common.
If
about as common as Jake.
If their name was like,
I have Codys I'm friends with, by the way. I'm not like adverse.
Do you
to,
tell them to their faces
associating.
that you think their names are dumb?
He just says like, "Hey guy."
I mean, so I've dated girls who, in the midst of
named Cody.
Well, they've mentioned dating a guy that was named Cody. I'd be like, why would you date a Cody? Cody.
I knew a Cody named Coti, which that's bad. Yeah.
I know a Cody that's Coty.
Cody.
Coty.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give it to Jeremy just because I forgot who he was and forgot his name, and then Jake confirmed that the same thing, and I know for sure Hannah didn't know who his name was.
Nope.
So I mean, we're 13 episodes in, and we all forgot his name.
Yeah.
So that's not great. So God be with you, and also with you.
Have a good night, everyone.